Hey, good morning, Nick. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm great coming at you from Toronto, not too far from where you are right now. You got loads of Canadian fans here.
I was just in Niagara Falls last weekend.
Oh, did you have a good time?
I did. I played a show at the Falls View Casino.
Yes.
It was,
Know it well. How was the audience for you?
they were great. It was a really generous audience.
Good, good
Lot
stuff.
of buffalo.
Yes, yes, a lot of Buffalo. You get some Torontonians coming out to Falls View too. We like to gamble as well, you
You
know.
know what? I asked by applause, and it was half and half. Toronto and Buffalo.
Very interesting. I like Falls View. It's fun. Well, you know what? We need you to come to Toronto to do stand up. So I hope you'll consider that soon
I
too.
will. I love Toronto, and I'm due a visit to Peterborough as well, where the Canadian Canoe Museum is.
Awesome. Oh yeah, awesome. Well, yeah, listen, we got lots to talk about. Let's start with Devs because when I first heard about this show, what excited me the most is when I heard it was by Alex Garland. And being a huge fan, I thought, holy mackerel, this is going to be fantastic. Was it a no-brainer for you to come on board once you knew he was doing this show?
It was. I felt exactly the same way. I was at my woodshop in Los Angeles, and I got a call. Alex Garland wants to meet you for a new series he's doing, and I'm such a big fan of his that I think I squealed like a schoolgirl.
Yeah, I probably would have too. But what was it about this? Because your character, Forrest, he's a complicated guy. He's a complicated character. It's very different from what we've seen from you on screen. What was it about him that you thought, boy, this is going to be just so juicy to tackle?
Well, honestly, Alex is a wonderful writer in many ways, but one aspect is that he's great at writing for actors. Our show has there are maybe six of us that could argue that we have the best part in the show. Um, I would obviously win the argument, but the other five could stay in it for a while. Um, and so I mean. I would have said yes to any one of these roles. When I got the scripts and began reading them, I said to my wife, "This is going to be something special," and I get to play a really crazy, complex role who starts off the series pretty clearly as the bad guy of the show. We get a lot of those signals from him. But the way the narrative plays out, I think that the morality of the show becomes a little murky, and you begin to, I think, at least question who's good and who is bad and why.
Right. Yeah. And you have, listen, you yourself have a lot of talents, but I wanted to know, are you a techie guy? Did you know a lot about this world before you started?
Not really. I mean, I had a loose grasp on it from reading comic books and, from reading sci-fi over the years, but I've never grasped the science of it until Alex sat us down and held our hands and walked us through it very masterfully. So now I can wrap my head around it, but only in theory, because then when I turn back to my real life, it all goes out the window, and I say, okay, where's my next sandwich coming from?
Exactly, exactly. And like you were saying, talk about the cast on this show. It's so great. You get to work with, speaking of Toronto, one of our lovely, amazing actresses, Alison Pill. How did you like to work with
Oh,
her?
I mean, I can't I can't say enough about her. Is she's a legend. The upsetting thing about Allison is that she's so young, because she seems like she belongs in the echelon of Judi Dench or Anthony Hopkins. She's such an incredible actor and super fun person. We sort of hit it off with a sibling relationship, and I'm a very big fan. Getting to work with actors of her ilk is a dream come true for me.
Yeah. Do you find it harder to do something dramatic like this, or is comedy harder?
Well, I believe comedy is harder because comedy has the same stakes as good drama, but you have to take it even farther. They're both, you know, in both instances, you're dealing with something, some sort of tragedy, but in comedy, then you also have to fall down the stairs.
Right. Yeah, because I've always said that I find dramatic comedians make the best dramatic actors. I mean, just look at the history of somebody like a Robin Williams, a Jim Carrey, and then I'm looking at you in this show and I'm thinking, holy mackerel! Like, what is the secret to that?
Well, I can't really. Those two guys are very upfront comedians first and foremost, and that's not true of me. I come from Chicago theater, so my whole career I've been doing work like this, as well as making people laugh and kind of everything in between. So there's a little bit of a misconception. People know me best from Parks and Recreation and other funnier fare. So they say, "Oh, I didn't know that he also is a welder," but turns out I've been making steel stick together my whole life.
Yeah, yeah. Now, listen, of course, we love seeing you with your amazing wife, Megan Mullally. You guys are so great together. And now that she's done with Will and Grace and everything, you guys have this phenomenal podcast, you know, in bed with Nick and Megan, which this is so amazing. Now, do you find that you get, people kind of so-called put out more when they're in bed with you?
Yes, they are willing to figuratively let their guard down and undress a little bit. I mean, we record the podcast literally in our bed, in our house, with our guests, and so it has a feeling, instead of sitting in a studio at a microphone, which has a formality to it, it feels more like the end of a party, when everyone is left, but maybe one or two friends are stuck around, and you flop down on the couch or on a bed and just have an unexpected, deep conversation.
That's amazing.
It's really fun. It's Megan's brainchild. We wrote a book together, and the podcast was born of the book. And like so many things, I'm just grateful that she lets me ride shotgun.
Listen, you two are so fantastic there. Do you have a guest that you are just dying to have in your bed?
One of the things we'd love to do is have married couples and sort of, get into, especially married couples that are also in our business or in some other sort of high pressure situation. And that being the case, I think, in fact, I'd like to shout out, in case the Obamas are watching. I'd like.
That would be so. You know what? As you were saying, high pressure couples, I thought the Obamas. That was exactly what came to my mind. Okay, listen, we're going to get that out there in the universe. We have a California
king, so I think we can fit. They're tall people, but we have room.
I think so too. Well, listen, Nick, congratulations on everything. It's such a great to talk to you, and congratulations on Devs. It's FX on Hulu, and then here on Canada we get it on FX, so everybody can see it here as well. And just listen, come visit us. We love having you, and thank you for everything.
I'll be back. Thank you very much.